Since 2017, I've been walking the entrepreneurial journey. During that time, I've learned a ton. It's not just the fact of my business has grown and the agency has grown, but myself as an individual too. I started this podcast essentially for sharing all the lessons that I've learned over the last 5 years or so. Hi guys, welcome to the Being in Business podcast. This is actually the first episode, and it's just going to be an introduction into a little bit about who I am, my background, and essentially why I've started this podcast, and also what you can expect from this podcast, especially from listening to the episodes that will be published every week and for the consecutive weeks as well. So just a bit about me. My name is Craig. I'm originally from Wales in the UK, but actually been living in Bali since 2020 and continue to live here. And I class Bali as my home right now. Been here just over 2.5 years. Since 2017, I've been walking the entrepreneurial journey. And during that time, I've learned a ton in terms of a lot of mistakes, a lot of lessons, and essentially what I have seen work well for me in terms of building a business, building a team around a business, and then attracting the right clients for the right offers for that business. Essentially, I've taken a Pinterest marketing agency from zero at the beginning of 2020, 0 team members, 0 clients, 0 revenue, to what is now a multi-6-figure agency and is continuing to grow. And even just saying that now is still pretty amazing even after all this time. So everything I'm going to share is the lessons I've learned along the way, including all the business mistakes I made in the beginning. Looking back now, they're quite funny. But that's the type of stuff I'm going to be sharing. I started this podcast essentially for 2 reasons. One I've just mentioned just now, which is essentially me sharing all the lessons that I've learned over the last 5 years or so, learning from my mistakes, but also to share what I found work well so that you guys can implement and use in your businesses. Because ultimately, the majority of stuff that I've tested and tried over the last couple of years hasn't worked. But there's definitely aspects of what I have tried and tested over the last 2 or 3 years in particular that have definitely worked well. And these are kind of the frameworks that I've built around some of the stuff that I'm continuing to use now and will continue to use moving forward. And the second reason for this podcast is it's also to kind of document the journey that I'm on right now. And it's basically the transformational journey that I find myself on. Because over the last few years, I've come to realize that it's not just the fact of my business has grown and the agency has grown, but myself as an individual too. So my intent is to actually share what's working for me personally and professionally, because what I've come to realize is growing a business is one thing, but it's actually an inside job. And I found that I've had to change along the way for my business to continue to grow. And essentially, this is where the name of the podcast came from, which is Being in Business, because building a successful business is, in my opinion, more of an inside job than it is on the external stuff. I've literally had to change who I was to who I am today. And if one entrepreneur can use something from this podcast, implement it in their business, and it improves their business, then this podcast would have served its purpose. Okay, so that's kind of enough about me, what I've done and who I am. In terms of the schedule, we're going to be publishing 3 shows per week. These will be released on a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday each week. The format of the episodes and the shows will be between 8 and 15 minutes long. Most of the time, that's because my attention span is quite short. So I think it's better to have shorter episodes that are just packed full of content and information that you guys can go and implement, rather than them being hourly long episodes. The only time that would be different is when we have guest interviews on. They're likely to be an hour plus, but the majority of shows that I'll be recording, or episodes that I'll be recording, they will be around about 8 to 15 minutes long. In terms of the content that we're going to cover, such topics as sales, marketing, offer structure, and what it takes to stop the hustle and actually start building a profitable business without any burnout. Because ultimately that's exactly what happened to me in the early years of me building a business. And I'll talk more about this in coming episodes. But essentially, this was a core aspect of why I decided to make this podcast. It's that there's a better way and an easier way to build a business, and it doesn't involve the hustle and the grind that seems to be such a popular topic around internet marketing and just building a business. There's a way better way to do it, and it's more to do with working smarter and not harder, in my opinion. So you can also find me on Instagram, which is I'm currently using the handle at the Craig Lewis. All of the shows are going to be shared on there. You'll also find some other video content and some other posts on there. So you're going to see that feed build up with ongoing content, plus also future episodes that will be released on there too. So that's it for now. Please keep an eye out for the up and coming shows. As I said, each episode is going to be released on a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next episode. Thanks.